Show Me Institute. Talk a little policy. Joe Miller getting married. Is he already married?
I believe so, yeah.
He's already married. He's on his honeymoon. Who knew? He kept that a secret from us. So filling in for him is Mr. John Wright, Show Me Institute policy analyst. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back to the show. So you want to talk a little minimum wage today?
That's right.
What's the right? We should pay everybody more money. What's wrong with that?
Well, the problem is if you mandate a minimum wage, you actually price people out of a job.
So what's the latest going on here, right? Where are we in all this minimum wage conversation?
Right. So there's some proposals to increase the minimum wage in the city, in St. Louis City and Kansas City a few months ago, and it looks like the $15 minimum wage push is not over. Now they're trying to organize and get a ballot initiative that would force the entire state to pay $15 or more. They've already done this in California and New York, and they hope New Missouri will be next.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but I don't. California's economy is going fine. New York economy is going gangbusters.
Yeah. There's a lot going for New York and California. It's not just about affecting the economy so much as hurting low-skilled workers. So a lot of the California economy is Silicon Valley,
right.
and those people are compensated much higher than than minimum wage.
Right.
But the unemployment rate in California is not good. I mean, it's worse than Missouri, and it's worse than the national average. And the youth unemployment rate rate in particular
right.
is very high. So that's probably only going to exacerbate that problem.
One of the arguments in favor of not mandating a minimum wage is so the small business owner who looks for ways. Well, like I heard McDonald's, right? So McDonald's is the classic traditional minimum wage story. And I, believe it or not, have been to a McDonald's where they don't even have employees anymore.
Oh, yeah.
They have a touch screen, and you touch screen your order, and then you go to the window and you pick it up. So that's already happening, right? Whether there's a minimum wage or not. Yeah. So those minimum wage jobs are under all sorts of pressure from all sorts of technology.
That's right. If you think of it like this: if you're paid $9 an hour and you produce $10 an hour of wealth for your employer, you're getting 90% of that benefit. If they increase the minimum wage $15 an hour, then they're losing $5 for each hour you work.
Right.
That's just not sustainable. And unless an employer hires you out of charity, they're not going to continue to hire you.
So what do you do? How do you get ahead? Because you can't mandate a minimum wage. Schnucks just fired 190 people who were good, decent paying union jobs. Some were $15 an hour, some were a little more, to go with $8 or $9 an hour with no benefits. So how does somebody get ahead?
Well, you get ahead. You need to add more value, and there's no shortcut there. But you need to, so education, skills, experience, training, those are the ways to get paid more. Simply standing there and demanding more probably isn't going to work out too good for you.
Yeah, no, I hear, people say you can't live on a minimum wage. Well, I don't think anyone has ever said that minimum wage is a, you can't survive on minimum wage. That's the whole idea. It's minimum wage for a reason.
It's more like a training wage, a starting
right.
wage.
Yeah. I don't see it happening though here in the. I mean, it seems like there are too many other businesses that are too many other people who are bringing in too many other side stories. So I don't think this is going to happen.
Yeah, well, let's hope not, because it would be really destructive for low skilled workers.
Somebody says, well, wait, it's $15 an hour. Well, wait, you're making $12 an hour. It's only $3 extra an hour. Well, if you've got 25, 30 employees, right? Mm-hmm. And you give them each a $3 raise an hour. That's 8 hours. 8 times 3 is 24. That's right, $24 a day per 50 employees. That cranks up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it adds up, and if the profit margin in the service industry tends to be pretty razor thin, so if the profit margin is 3% and you're looking at increasing the costs above that, then some places will just go out of business. A lot of the mom and pop shops might close down.
Where could we? You got more online about this?
Oh, we do. We've got a video on the Dutchtown community in St. Louis and how the minimum wage would affect that community online. ShowMeInstitute.org is our website. You can also check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
What's the Dutchtown example?
So Dutchtown is this it's this community in South St. Louis.
Yeah, just off Hampton.
That's right. Yeah, and that's where the one of the I think the original Ted Drewes is located in Dutchtown.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of a poor neighborhood, but there's these small businesses there that are struggling, and they're trying to improve the community.
Right.
When the city was considering doing a $15 minimum wage, we went down to Dutchtown. We spoke to some business owners and some people who worked in that area, and filmed a short little documentary about their how this would affect them. And it's not going to be easy for a lot of these restaurants to continue operating.
Right. You know, the other thing I find interesting is New York put the $15 minimum wage in. But New York, $15 an hour in New York is very different than $15 an hour in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cost of living in New York is much higher.
So I'd love to know how many people were truly affected by that $15 an hour. There were probably a lot of people were already making minimum wage $15 an hour.
So the not the legal minimum wage, but the default minimum wage in Manhattan was probably around there.
Yeah.
And maybe in places in upstate New York, it's just going to kill businesses there. But for people on the island, it's
it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. John Wright. Show Me Institute policy analyst. What's the website?
ShowMeInstitute.org.
845 Big 550 KT.